Good morning, traders. I am Emily Ivani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Friday, February 21st. We prepare to wrap up this shortened trading week as stocks continue to look for direction. Yesterday, during regular trading, markets tumbled lower on uncertainty about the economy, corporate health, and politics. The Dow sank 450 points, or more than 1%. The S&P 500 gave up 26 points, or 0.43%. The Nasdaq tried to climb back from early session lows, but still ended in the red, down 93 points, or about 0.5%. Bill, let's get into Friday's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Hi, yes, good morning, Emily. How are you? Listen, watching the S&Ps all morning long. We are trading higher. We're like 1/10% higher, which is good. You're seeing there are some positive factors going on, but the volatility is really limited. I mean, you got a low of the S&Ps of 609.89 and a high of 611, so it's really a tight trading range. So I'm a little cautious there. But one thing that's moving today, Chinese retail stocks, they're showing strong gains after the Alibaba results and their AI strategy. They're continuing to trade higher, and all the Chinese retailers are seeming to be running. Other stocks that came out with earnings, SFM, Sprouts Family Markets, DBX, Pod, they're all drifting lower after earnings last night. But next week, big week, we got a lot of key earnings coming out. We got Domino's Pizza, we got Home Depot, we got INTU, we got Lowe's, we got TJ Maxx, we got Snowflake, CRM, Salesforce, we got NVDA and Dell Technology. They're all scheduled to release next week. Last night, the Senate passed a blueprint for a bill, still faces a really uphill battle in Congress. That budget bill, it's going to really come into more of effect next month. There's a rumor out there this morning that the troubled Japanese car manufacturer Nissan is looking for a new partner now that their deal with Honda seems to be broken up. Tesla's being floated as a possibility, highly unlikely, but there's talk about it. I'm not putting any credence into that, but there is talk about it. Listen, today we get the flash PMI data that's coming out after the opening bell. And I do want to point out United Healthcare getting hit today. There's a possibility, or there's an investigation into the Medicare billing practices. So I'm not worried about United Healthcare, but let's take a look at what's happening overseas this morning. We got the DAX. The DAX is up 46 points, or 0.21%. Germany's composite PMI rose to 51 in February from 50.5 in January. And also in Germany, you get those elections. German elections are on Sunday. That could be something. London's seen a gain of 7 points, or 0.08%. UK retail sales surged 1.7% in January, exceeding the forecasts. In France, markets are higher, up 33 points, or 0.41%. The market's pricing in French, and the Eurozone PMI readings. They continue to watch corporate updates. But then we got to turn our attention to the Asian markets, because the Nikkei jumped 98 points, or 0.26%. Positive action in the autos, pharmaceuticals also saw gains, but the yen remains a key driver. Now it weakened overnight, which is positive for equities, but I still think that yen is going to continue to strengthen. But last night it weakened, and that was a net benefit for the equities. Hong Kong jumped 900 points last night. That's 3.99%, almost 4%. Gains were broad-based, and it was, really those Alibaba earnings and the positive sentiment on AI was really helping the Hong Kong markets last night. Wow, 3.99%. And the Shanghai in China up 0.85%. Positive gains in tech stocks really helped that market move higher. Now we're taking a look at oil real quick, and oil is trading a little weaker today. We got WTI at $71.92. You got Brent at $75.94. But oil is still on track for a gain of more than 1% for the week. Supply data is really the issue here, because Russia may come back in if the sanctions are lifted with a lot of supply. So we got to be a little bit of concern with that. OPEC, on the other hand, they're saying that they may push back their expected production increases because of the low prices of oil. In the U.S., having trouble doing more drilling because nobody's really bidding on these federal land permits that the government has made available. But the fact of the matter is oil has to be higher than $71 a barrel for the shale guys to make money with new wells. So they're not jumping for joy to kind of jump in there and start pumping oil. And that's what I have for you in terms of morning market update report, Emily.
Bill, on this Friday, as we both mentioned, maybe lack of volatility. Investors are looking for direction. You just pointed to a number of key factors that could be market drivers today, and we're going to get to more of that throughout the day's show. So let's start first with earnings action. You did give us a preview of some of the earnings that did come out. So let's start there, Bill. What is going on in terms of earnings action?
OLED, Universal Display, Oscar, Larry, Edward, David. They missed by 12 cents, but they did it on higher revenue. You look at the stock this morning, OLED is up 1.64%. Okay. Dropbox, DBX, David Boy, X-Ray, they beat by 11 cents and they did it on higher revenue. Guidance was not good. That stock's down 6.65%. Rivian Automotive, ticker RIVN, they missed by 7 cents. They did it on higher revenue. Stock's down 5.38%. Upcoming, nothing this afternoon, but Monday morning we got Owens Corning, ticker OC, Oscar Charlie. EPS, $2.87. Expected move, 8.21%. You also have Domino's Pizza, DPZ, David Paul Zebra. Their EPS is $4.95, and the expected move is 7.16%. But we'll see if these stocks are able to kind of pull out some gains on Monday when they release their earnings report, Emily.
Bill, following all of those using your earnings alert on your NewsWare, you're also following economic events. You did mention that PMI data that's coming out just after the opening bell, but there are, or just before, well, you'll give us the details there, but a number of economic reports to look at today, including that one, along with some Fed speak. Again, a heavy week for Fed speak, and you've been following that all week, Bill, to really get clues on the economy, what the Fed may be doing next, which is obviously something that markets pay attention to. So, Bill, give us a rundown of everything we should be watching when it comes to economic events.
At 9:45 a.m., 15 minutes after the opening bell, we get the PMI composite flash reports. Then at 8:30 a.m., that's really the key one. Then, at 10 a.m., we get the existing home sales, and at 11 a.m., we get consumer sentiment, University of Michigan numbers. In Fed speak today, 11:30 a.m., you're going to be hearing from Fed Governor Philip Jefferson. Also at 11:30, San Francisco Fed Bank President Mary Daly. Yesterday we did hear from Raphael Bostic of the Atlanta Fed. He said that monetary policy is in good place with solid economic backdrop, and added that heightened uncertainty about trade and immigration policy means the Federal Reserve should remain cautious. Yeah, they're very cautious. They got to assess, the potential inflationary impacts of the new policies of the Trump administration before making any decisions. So, if you look at that CME Fed Watch tool, it's unlikely that we're going to have a rate cut in the first half of the year. I mean, the odds are under 50% that that's going to happen. So we'll have to wait and see. And yesterday, the jobless claims data rose by 5,000. That makes the 4-week moving average, 215, 250. That's not bad. That's a pretty solid labor market. But that's what I have for you in terms of economic data this morning, Emily.
And Bill, you're watching that economic data and Fed speak again using your NewsWare, setting that up with alerts so you can gather that information. You're also able to gather other types of information and data, news coming out of different sectors and segments. Each morning, you're looking at things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news, catalyst costs. You're also looking at your stocks group together, like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. I'm just taking a preview look at the notes here, Bill, a number of headlines to mention. So, Bill, what else do you see as possibly moving the markets today?
Well, listen, I'm just doing a quick data check. I'm looking at my Dow stocks now. I got 24 higher, 6 lower. I'm looking at my FANG stocks. They're all showing positive action. That's kind of nice to see. That's positive. That's good. It makes me feel good, like we're going to have a good opening. And you look at the S&Ps, we're up 0.08%. So that does indicate we're going to have some positive opening. The real weakness, obviously, is a United Healthcare story. News behind the tape like Apple. Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, he met with President Trump yesterday. Apparently, they were discussing ongoing concerns on tariffs and U.S. manufacturing practices. Interesting. Amazon Amazon, a couple of issues out there. I mean, I know that Amazon is taking over the James Bond franchise. They're going to be. It was done by a family. Now it's being done by MGM Studios. Interesting. Google, YouTube plans a lower price version of its paid video service. Meta Platforms. Well, the FTC chair is looking to overhaul free speech content on social media. He doesn't want it censored at all. It needs to be just right out there. The problem is that people think it's news because somebody writes it or they refer to it. But these are opinions, and opinions is not news. An op-ed is not factual, and unfortunately, it's a very cloudy line. But the FTC is looking to overhaul free speech on social media platforms. Netflix and FLX, they're planning $1 billion investment in Mexico over the next 4 years. Tesla, as I mentioned, Japanese group said that they're seeking investment from Tesla for Nissan. I don't put any truth into this story. There's a lot of reasons why this is probably just a rumor and not fact. But then we move over to like Dow Jones 30 stocks. And the big one is United Healthcare, UNH, Uncle Nancy Henry. DOJ launches investigation into United Healthcare Group's Medicare billing practices. Stock's getting hit. It's very weak this morning. But think about it. They've been doing these practices for decades. This is what they've been doing, and all of a sudden today they decided to look into it because there's a problem with their billing practices. They have a lot of lobbyists. They have a leg to stand on when they make these claims. United Healthcare, very weak this morning. Then we're taking a look at a Disney, ticker DIS, ESPN baseball, and Major League Baseball, ESPN and Major League Baseball. They're going to end that long-term TV deal. Cord cutting, it's affecting the viewership, and when the people aren't turning into ESPN as much as they used to, so it's kind of causing a problem for them to do these long-term deals with Major League Baseball. So yeah, it makes sense. It's not as popular as it once was. And then we got to talk about NVIDIA, ticker NVDA. Listen, stocks, trading a little higher this morning. Good to see. They got a big week next week. I mean, because they're releasing earnings next week. It's something to pay attention to. NVIDIA, along with a lot of other firms. In terms of guidance news, we're talking Dropbox, DBX. They see full year 2025 revenue coming in 2.47 billion to 2.48 billion. Street estimate had it at 2.55. That's a big downtick. Then you got OLED. They see full year revenue coming in 640 to 700 million. Street estimate has a 715.77 million. Downtick. Ring Central, ticker RNG. They see Q1 adjusted EPS coming in 93 cents to 97 cents. Street estimate has a $1.01. Another downtick. Not positive. Then we're talking some buyback news. EXEL, Edward, X-Ray, Edward, Larry. They announced a new 500 million share repurchasing program. Clear Secure, that's ticker YOU, Yellow, Oscar, Uncle. Their board authorized a $200 million increase to their share repurchasing program. And ALSN, Apple, Larry, Sam, Nancy, they announced a $1 billion increase, 101 billion increase to its share repurchasing plan. So that's all good. Now we're talking some catalyst events that are out there. Citibank, they put a 30-day catalyst watch on Wendy's, ticker WEN, William Edward Nancy, and they also placed a 90-day catalyst watch on Chipotle, ticker CMG, Charlie Michael Grace. Something to keep an eye on. But that's what I have for you in terms of news in the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. It is now that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. But looking for opportunity, there's sort of this lack of volatility, but you're going to find us a play for today. So, Bill, what is your pick of the day on this Friday?
I'm going to go with United Healthcare, ticker UNH. I think this sell-off is overdone. But I got to get in at a good price. Listen. Department of Justice said they're looking into the billing practices. They said this in the pre-market, and I think that's kind of an opportunity because it's really selling off hard. You look at yesterday's call volume, 9,380 calls versus 13,526 puts. Interesting. It's not positive, it's negative, but that's okay. Call open interest. This is what I find interesting. The open interest is 157,222 versus 113,629. Major brokers, they still have price targets in the $600 range for the stock. You can't knock that. I mean, they have, the brokers have it there for a reason. So I know Pershing Square is out there. They've been pushing for it, making calls, saying that this is, that they have Medicare billing issues. Well, United Healthcare called the SEC on Bill Ackman, and they said, he's grossly uninformed. Then you got big hedge funds like Soros adding to their position, building up a position in United Healthcare. I mean, if the major brokers are positive on it and get big hedge funds buying it, the only one that's not is really Pershing Square. Let's face it, his track record is not as great as his publicity makes it sound. I mean, yeah, he does get wins every once in a while, but I've never been really impressed with his returns. I mean, market goes up 20%, his fund makes 7%. That's not a fund you want to be in. But I do think United Healthcare, UNH, is a great opportunity. Got to get in the right price. I'm hoping to get in at 440, 439, 440 today. We'll wait and see. But I do think United Healthcare is grossly oversold right now, and there's going to be an opportunity for it to bounce back during the trading day. And that's my pick of the day. UNH, Uncle Nancy Henry, United Healthcare, Emily.
UNH it is today, Bill, and who would have thought UNH 440? We're looking for talk about a coupon. We will follow that along with you today. And coming up before we sign off for the weekend, we will do a recap on yesterday's pick of the day. So stick with us through that. But first, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, take it away.
Okay, what do we see here? Spain faces limited hit from U.S. tariffs, according to their central bank. All right. Coinbase CEO says the SEC dismissed litigation against the company. One thing, there's a lot of outflows in the Chinese yuan, and apparently it has been going into digital currencies, which is one of the reasons behind the recent spike in value of Bitcoin. And it seems like it's continuing. So, I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin continues to, gain some traction. Oh, Bluebird, ticker BLUE. They'll be acquired by Carlyle for $3 per share, BLUE. Johnson & Johnson says that their phase 3 Astro study met primary endpoints, J&J. Donald Trump is expected to take control of the United Parcel Service, the post office, and he wants to fire the postal board. Okay, we'll see. Ford's doing a recall of 240,000 vehicles. Tesla's doing a recall of 380,000 vehicles. Microsoft OpenAI COO says ChatGPT crossed the 400 million weekly average users. Interesting. Trump plans to tax foreign flagged ships calling at U.S. ports. Trump's apparently going to be signing some executive orders this afternoon at 3:30 p.m. Not sure what they're on. Rivan expects a drop in electric vehicle deliveries in 2025, sees modest gross profit. Spirit Airlines gets courts approved $795 million debt deal. That's all I'm seeing this morning.
Okay, Bill, before we sign off, dive into trading on this Friday ahead of the weekend. Let's do that check-in on yesterday's pick of the day, which was WillScot Holdings Corp. Now, they did release earnings. They reported a Q4 EPS of 49 cents that was ahead of analyst estimates of 46 cents. Revenue for the quarter came in at $602.52 million. Consensus here was just a little bit higher at $606.55 million. In terms of forward guidance, the company is looking for a full year 2024 revenue of $2.275 to $2.475 billion, and that is versus the consensus of $2.457 billion. So, a little bit on the lower end there. Not a terrible report. Bill, you were looking for some volatility in this stock to take advantage of. How did your call work out?
Volatility was there. Listen, the stock opened up at $39.02. Then it fell down to $36.73, and at 37, I was all over this thing. The stock closed at $38.67. $0.37. And then after the close, after those earnings reports came out, stock hit $40.68. $40.68. This morning, it's trading a bit, near my, original entry price, which was, 38.50, and then, that's fine. But yeah, there was definitely the possibility for a gain. It was a winner. I don't know much about this company other than what I've read, but but the volatility was there. So yeah, WSC winner.
A winner there, Bill. Definitely a chance for a gain. And we will check in with you on Monday about today's United Healthcare pick of the day to see if we get a gain there. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here Monday and each weekday morning next week at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Vani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.